Wetherspoons is possibly one of the most British things ever, alongside the Union Jack and football violence. There's just something about it that really gets us going. Really can't imagine why that would be between the insanely fast service and literally rock bottom prices. That infamous carpet is recognised all across Britain by anybody with a working pair of eyes, because Wetherspoons as a chain is absolutely everywhere. Over 800 pubs all across the UK and Ireland, and they have snuck their way into every high street, city centre and historical building. They are truly a terrifying business that somehow hasn't monopolised the entire hospitality industry with their sheer size. But more than anything, there is one thing that separates Wetherspoons from any other pub chain. The X Factor has given Spoons its massive influence on the whole of the country. Wetherspoons has its very own newspaper, the Wetherspoons News. A new edition comes out every 3 months as a seasonal update. There's also the special editions, and the most recent one, Does Truth Matter? This is an issue where they promise to address incorrect statements about spoons made by actual news outlets like Forbes and The Times, because of a bunch of comments made by founder and chairman of Wetherspoons, Tim Martin, during COVID. He was more vocal than normal during COVID, saying that all the restrictions were over the top and that pubs didn't need to close. Just have everyone in all of them socially distanced instead. Which really just shows how disconnected he is from the average British pub. He also went on to say his staff should work at Tesco's, they can't afford to work at Spoons. And that's basically the crux of this entire issue of the newspaper. It's pretty much all about Tim Martin trying to say that he said everything in an actually good way, and he wants people to support and help Tesco's and the supermarkets that needed it. Not that he just didn't want to pay his staff. It really just comes across as the Wetherspoons boss using this newspaper that nobody actually reads to try and protect its reputation and, more probably, its ego. But the Wetherspoons News has been used for a lot more than just protecting one millionaire's ego. Its impact goes much deeper and it is much more terrifying. Tim Martin was a very strong Brexiteer and was really desperate for us to leave the European Union. For some reason that's definitely not tax related. So, in summer of 2016, Wetherspoons News released their Brexit special issue, with apparently 2 million readers, and on the page just after the advertisements for the Euro dates, we have this. It's a 2-page spread titled "I'm Out for Democracy," which I can only describe as Martin's manifesto. It's 2,000 or so words from calling the EU undemocratic and saying they're taking our freedoms like one of those mental Americans. It calls any Remainers fearmongers and calls any politician that disagrees with them detached by being the owner of the biggest pub chain in the country. Like, this man literally has more pubs than the country of Luxembourg, and he wants to pretend that he can represent the common man. But this is the exact reason why he can appeal to the common man. He spread his pubs across every single corner of the United Kingdom with the cheapest possible prices, which they attract everyone. This newspaper then goes out to every single Wetherspoons. So basically everywhere and anywhere in the country, his opinion can be heard by anyone who just picks up the damp paper on the table in the pub. On the 3rd page, they see the clearly very smart man who can make a profit out of providing very cheap and available beer and foods, saying this is what is beneficial to all of us. And in a country where everybody already hates the current government, regardless, it's just going to have so many people listen to him. They only went there for a cheap pint, and now they've got this one-way political rhetoric viewed at them. Of course, the Wetherspoons News doesn't have the same level of accountability as any other news source, because it's technically not an actual real media source or newspaper. Realistically, they can say whatever they want in there, and as long as it's not causing them to lose sales, who actually cares? Anyway, the Brexit vote happened, and Leave came up with a 52% vote. So considering how close it all was, genuinely not too far out there, to think that the Wetherspoons newspaper influenced us to leave the EU. But of course, after the Brexit vote, it didn't all just stop there. We had to deal with all the stuff about getting a deal and actually leaving the EU. Unsurprisingly, Tim was still very vocal about this, saying that we didn't need a deal or anything, and it's all just a big scam. In 2018, he stopped selling all products from European Union countries, meaning no more champagne and Prosecco, so he could be Larry. More importantly, in 2019, he made his opinions even clearer. The Wetherspoons mass posted this to thousands of homes. Their post-Brexit issue, the Wetherspoons News, now making it inescapable for some people. This issue obviously had another Tim Martin double spread where he spews his opinion at you and tells you how he's better at world politics than every politician. Obviously, now they've sent this to random people's houses for no reason, it got a little bit more attention than the first go around. He also did his own little Brexit tour around some of his pubs, just to debate the topic with his own customers. It's just very weird to watch. Naturally, provoked the Spoons Worked Against Brexit group. He said it was mass spreading of dangerous propaganda. But Wetherspoons responded by pointing to the page where they just reprint other articles about Brexit towards the end of the paper, where probably nobody's going to see it. And some of the articles they reposted were anti-Brexit. But despite their shit name, the Spoons Workers Against Brexit do sort of have a point. He's just pushing his very fringe and very unpopular right-wing opinion into thousands of households across the country. And considering how rich and successful he is, again, people are just bound to listen. The Wetherspoons News sort of normalises and makes this further right style of politics more accessible, with Tim Martin undermining all of the politicians and calling them elitists. And as much as I hate politicians, I know I'm not smarter than most of them, and I probably don't know how to run a country better than most of them. Anyway, the fall of the Wetherspoons News into this far-right agenda weirdly lines up with the rise of far-right parties like Reform in the UK, who basically just hate immigrants and Muslims. Basically, the continued publication of the Wetherspoons News has helped to normalise and push this far-right agenda in the UK to a massive degree, with this all coming to a head last year. I don't think it's that stupid to say that Tim Martin had a role to play in all those riots that happened last year.